Thank you very much for this question. I think it's important you understand what we're trying to build here. The characteristic of Web 1 is that people should remember their original AOL's account is well planned in a. See some content in the walled garden. These contents are not interactive, but presented to you on AOL. As Time magazine has shown you in the past, they want you to read their articles in magazines. It's just that this time it's on the screen. The innovation of Web 2 lies in. Suddenly you can not only read but also write. This is a major representative event. People still remember that it was in the late 1990s and early 2000. Of course, the reason for the centralization of the internet is all these activities have been commercialized by a very small number of companies. Facebook, as the chairman mentioned earlier, and 2 or 3 companies like Google. Web3 is different in that can actually own the network. This is what cryptocurrency assets themselves represent. It's the ownership of an underlying network. So when you hear people talking about, for example, Layer 1 tokens, they mean this is your reward for providing ledger maintenance services, because you are providing computing power to the network. On the internet, both Layer 1 and Layer 2 are completed by Google. So now in my hometown of Pueblo, Colorado, you can actually have an narrow network, but they can't be in Google, and several other companies have these on the internet. These are the significance of the cryptocurrency project. It is a network that allows people to directly own the original assets that support it. This is the essence of decentralization. Token holders are those who control Google Apps. Explain token holders in the language of Capitol Hill. Those are digital assets, which are the keys to open the ledger and let you participate. Therefore, please describe to us how these digital assets are integrated into this internet revolution. The concept of Web3 is that you have some kind of application layer token, or some kind of protocol layer token. So, if I'm the owner of Bitcoin, we said I was a miner of Bitcoin, a real creator of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the reward for my work to keep the network running, and this allows me to own part of the Bitcoin blockchain. Or take Ethereum, which is easier to understand. Ethereum coins represent ownership shares in the network, but on this network, there are various applications developed based on this network, like the app on your phone. It depends on the existing underlying network that allows the mobile phone to run. Therefore, people will judge which network is more likely to win. They will invest in the network's tokens, just like you might invest in Google stock, because you think Google will extend the use of the original internet. The difference is that you can use your equity certificate to vote on the future development of the network. For example, you can get rewards through proof of work pass tokens to maintain ledger like Bitcoin. But the real message here is, what happens on the decentralized internet is decided by investors. And what happens on the main internet, it was decided by Twitter, Facebook, Google and a few other companies. This layer of digital assets, right? For Congress, understand this, everything is built on the level of this new internet. Therefore, it is very important for us to how to be sensitive to all these developments, ensure that actions are taken to incorporate these new technologies when laws are updated. Mr. McKinney, I quite agree with you. I think when you hear the common problems of all these different large technology companies, the importance of owner-controlled networks becomes clear. Owner-controlled network, not enterprise. It is right to consider from these aspects. So if you're not part of management, you can't make decisions in Web 2 mode. If you are a participant in the network, you can make these decisions in the model of CO governance. Exactly. Okay, so I asked this question not to solve it in this conversation. Instead, set a rule here, so as to have an understanding of what we are talking about. This wheel is not as simple as you mentioned. It's about trillions of dollars in assets. Before Nakamoto wrote the white paper 13 years ago, it did not exist. At this stage, this is about the value of $3 trillion around a new field and new technology development, which will develop globally. Whether or not the United States embraces it and competes, or rejects it and push it offshore. Therefore, as a policymaker, we need to understand what we are talking about here. This is very important. This discussion on Web3 topic. Therefore, Madam President, thank you for convening this hearing. I hope our policymakers will have a better understanding of these important concepts.